and welcome to this very special Christmas edition of Land Rovers Live. As always, I'm Matt, and joining me today we have a whole table full of special guests. Joining me we've got David and Neil from Black Country 4x4.
Hello.
Sally from Front Runner. Graham from Bearmac.
Hello.
Sean Conway from Sean Conway. And brains of many great product designs, Steph. So in this show we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to do a bit of a run through of what we've seen so far this year, our best bits, well, these guys' best bits as well, and also take a look into next year. Since Land Rovers Live started, we've been producing workshop guides in association with Bearmac. And today we've got Graham here from Bearmac. It's been a pretty exciting year so far, hasn't it?
It's been very good, Matt. Very pleased with our link with Land Rovers Live, and we've got more things planned for next year, which is great.
And over the last year or so, you guys at Bearmac have unveiled nearly 1,000 new products.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and same again for this coming year. We'll have probably more, particularly on later vehicle, Discovery 3, 4, Range Rover Sport. But we haven't forgotten Series and Defender as well. So yeah, it's going to be a very busy year again for us.
Sure. Well, what is it that makes Bearmac parts? Well, why do you have to have so many different parts?
First of all, a lot of the Land Rovers that were ever built are all still out there, so they need to be supported. There's a big array of varying products and varying models, and we just have to support that because we are a specialist.
And one of the things that we've seen over the last 12 months so is that Bearmac have become a lot more visible to people. You've advertised in magazines and things, but now we see you at a lot more shows and on social media and producing your own content.
Yeah, well, we relaunched the brand 2 years ago. We don't deal with the end user, we go through our specialists and our distributors, so we're trying to support those more to get the brand pulled through for us.
And I suppose when the hardest bit of the job is already done, i.e. making quality parts, that rest of it should be relatively simple.
Relatively straightforward, but it's not.
So, Sean, in a couple of days' time, you're doing something quite exciting as well, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm quite excited. Every year between Christmas and New Year, I do a mini adventure in the middle of winter. It's that time where you don't really know what to do. It's after Boxing Day. It's sort of, you're just waiting for the new year. So I thought, right, I'm going to do something. So 2 years ago, I cycled to the Alps. Last year, I walked 115 miles from Cheltenham to London for cheaper than the train, so £8 a day budget. And this year I'm going to kayak the length of the Thames. So in 2 days' time I'm going to jump in the kayak with my bivvy and tent and sleeping bag and try and get to London in time for my friend's New Year's Eve party. So hopefully I'll make it.
Good stuff. And you're no stranger to Bearmac products as well. You've recently had some new additions to your vehicle.
Yeah, I mean 2014 has been the year for me to finally buy my first Land Rover. You know, as a kid I always grew up with them and I loved them, and I was finally able to buy one. And now working with Bearmac, getting some new kit on the front and underneath, making it look amazing, and with Southern Front Runner obviously. Quite excited to do a bit of a Land Rover adventure, hopefully in the new year too.
Brilliant. So, Sally, you've been chipping in on Sean's new vehicle. What have we got on there?
Oh my gosh, well, I mean, Sean's got most things on his lovely red 110. Obviously the rack system, kayak holder, very important. Bike holder storage systems, gull-wing doors. Problem with having a hard top was he had no ventilation in the back because his bed's in the back. So now he can open his window and say good morning to the day. He's kind of got pretty much everything, although we have some new products coming out next year, which Sean will certainly be a recipient of, so that we can get them sort of tested in the UK. Obviously a lot of our testing is done in Africa, slightly different when we're using it in this country. So yeah, it's been great to hook up with Sean, and it's kind of reignited some of sort of my passions and things that I want to achieve. And also about spreading the word about how easily an attainable adventure is, as we discussed in an earlier episode. So yeah, it's been great fun, and maybe we'll drive down in the front runner vehicle and wave at him as he kayaks down the Thames when he goes past where we live.
Please bring an ale.
We will do. Mince pies on the water.
Yeah.
It's been a great sort of 2014, and then it's going to be an exciting 2015. I think for everybody.
Anything exciting you can talk about from Front Runner for next year?
Oh my gosh, there's so many exciting things. One of the exciting things is we're under an NDA with Land Rover, so that's so exciting I can't tell you anything about it.
Mum's the word then.
There's new products coming out. And there's lots of things in the new year, and obviously do lots of new things with the kids and apps on their phones, obviously. 2 seconds.
So,
Yeah, 2 seconds.
if you haven't seen it, our episode 11 features Sally, and she talks about adventures, specifically with children. It doesn't always go to plan when you've got children, but there's a lot that you can do, as Sally will go through, or has already gone through, to show you how to sort of deal with that.
I might lend one to Sean.
Yeah, brilliant.
And
Oh,
see.
great.
Yeah, well, he thinks you're great. Your whole jellyfish and beard story, he loved that. So it's kind of, yeah, we
bring it on.
you've got one too. We can lend some children over.
Yeah.
I think we should set him
I
up.
think we put 15 in the back.
Yeah, there's a whole new career for you there.
The travelling Conway
You
creche.
come back at the end of the day.
And you're no stranger to children either, David. You've got this one here who.
We're drawing pudding today, yeah.
So it's been a crazy year for you guys at Black Country 4x4 as well.
It's been fantastic, Matt. We've had some great growth this year. Premises has, more than doubled. Customer base has quadrupled. Yeah, it's been an absolutely fantastic year for us. We're getting really, really well known now. Yeah, brilliant. So looking forward to 2015 now, because got even more exciting things to come in 2015.
It's good, and if you haven't seen, we've been producing the workshop guides with Black Country 4x4 for a while, so a special thanks to you guys, because we just turn up, make a right mess and leave again. Thanks for putting up with us there.
No problem at all, mate.
I mean, this last year for, I think, all of us has been quite exciting, and next year looks to be an even bigger year. I mean, we've got some exciting announcements this year from Jaguar Land Rover in the form of the Discovery Sport. Any thoughts on what that might do to the sector?
Well, I suppose, like with the marketing that Land Rover put behind stuff, I know a lot that's going on, a fair bit that's going on behind the scenes in Land Rover Sport. They're looking forward to quite a big sales on the car. Looks an exciting vehicle as well.
Yeah, I mean, certainly the direction of Land Rover has changed a little bit over the last few years, but they're now selling more vehicles than they've ever sold before, and I mean that can only be a good thing, right, Sal?
Yeah, I mean, Land Rover are tapping into markets that have been unattainable in the past, mostly due to obviously issues with safety and stuff and regulations worldwide. It's a classic knock-on effect. If something works in the States, it will knock on into Asia. If it knocks into Asia, it will work into Europe and then on into Africa. So and with South America being a big emerging market, it's exciting times. And obviously the push for the Discovery Sport. And the new Jag XE is really to go into fleet sales. They've announced they really want to push their fleet sales up by 25% next year, which for dealerships has a big effect. Not so much for the aftermarket, because we're B2C generally, but yeah, it's nice to see them growing the way they've grown, investing in their own infrastructure. The opening of their engine factory will only result in that engine and that technology being used across the ranges, not just in the Jaguars. And investing in British heritage. I think there was a lot of people were worried, I think, when Tata bought in. Like any change in our industry, I mean, coming down the scale to where, most of, especially you guys sit with the aftermarket is, I remember when the Freelander came out and everyone, oh, and then the Discovery 3 came out and everyone, oh, it's a Transit, and the Puma and all that kind of stuff. So we have to embrace the new stuff that's coming in, and obviously, forward-thinking companies are embracing the models that exist now. We're never going to forget our heritage. I think we're all kind of Defender fans at heart, but the point is the brand is evolving, and you've got to move with it, or you're going to stagnate. So I think next year is, I think the industry needs a good shake-up, the aftermarket industry that we're in, and I think next year we'll see a lot of kind of coconuts falling out of the tree, hopefully.
Yeah.
Because there are credible companies and there's some great talent out there, and that needs to come through.
And I suppose, Bearmack's a British company, despite what some may think as being a German company.
We are indeed. I mean, we'll have to be careful here, because we are a Welsh company.
Yes, all right. Okay, I stand corrected. I mean, with all these new vehicles coming out, how do you guys keep on top of all the new aftermarket parts then?
Well, we have an ongoing technical team that really are looking at that daily. We get feedback from our customers, from our end users, so that's how we do it. I mean, we tend to view the market slightly differently. We look at models and break it down by product group. So we'll attack the service, MOT items first, make sure we've got those on the shelf as soon as we can. But our market, really, we won't see the Discovery Sport for 3 years-ish. It depends on countries, but we won't see that for 3 years. The other thing that we feel now that's changing dramatically is the people that are now buying Range Rover and Land Rover are a very different type of person to 10 years ago. So we see the market splitting, and we have to be ready for that to happen bigger. Defender, Disco 1 and 2, Range Rover Classic will become classic vehicles as series is becoming now. Range Rover Sport, I mean, it starts at £70,000. That's not your everyday car. No. So we see it doing this, and we have to support our distributors to be ready for that split, because we think it will be quite dramatic.
Yeah. I mean, do we think, obviously the Range Rover when it first came out in the 70s was an incredibly prestigious vehicle then, but now you do see them cannibalised and used for off-roading and all sorts. Do we think in 10 years' time, 15 years' time, we'll see a...
I think the biggest single difference, Matt, and I went on an experience drive the other day in the new Range Rover and it's electrics. It's like sitting in an electric power station. Yeah. It's got everything on it. You drive through the water and it tells you how deep the water is on a camera inside. It's a very different vehicle to the original Range Rover, so I don't know.
So where does that leave companies like Bearmac, who make third-party parts for
It's great for us, because the more they produce, it helps our volume to buy direct and be able to keep the pricing to a reasonable level. But also, I think where it does gain is that the more cars they build, the more the need, and it rolls down the market. But the market will be different. It won't be like it used to be, where you could keep a handful of parts and cover the majority of vehicles. And you have to change with that. The diagnostic side will be very different, and if you don't keep up with diagnostics, you won't be able to service the vehicle.
Yeah, and we've been getting to grips with the Hawkeye Pro box. Yeah. Will that support all new vehicles as well?
Yes, it will. It's usually about 10 months behind the vehicle being launched. But the people that we deal with on Hawkeye that produce all the software behind the scenes work very closely with Land Rover now. So they are keeping up abreast with the new vehicle, and then they pass that down to us. It's usually about 8 to 12 months after the vehicle's launched.
Right. So what does that mean for you then, Sean? You've just got yourself a Defender. Yeah. You've heard what Graham said, the market's splitting. Is there going to be a vehicle for you to be adventuring in 10 years' time?
I'm hoping I'm just going to keep my Defender forever and ever and ever, A bit like my old man had an old Series 2 for ages, wooden panelling on the side, And the fact that I can fix it with a hammer will hopefully mean I can keep it forever.
It's not hammers.
You'll be hitting it with a hammer quite often. I'm a big fan of most Land Rovers, and I'm if anything, I'll probably go and buy a Series 2 next. I think that'll be the next on my list. But you drive these new Range Rovers and Discoveries, and they are amazing machines, aren't they? So, at the moment I don't have a family, and I can quite happily chug along at 40, 50 miles an hour on the motorway, but I think once I'm sort of doing school runs and things, maybe I'll probably land
110 miles an hour.
Yeah, then I'll probably land getting a Discovery or something like that, but later down the line. But for now, I just love my Defender.
This is why we want to go into the refurbs of the Defenders, because I think for the off-roading community, I think in 10 years' time from now, you're going to be seeing exactly the same vehicles off-roading.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to see the new Range Rovers, the Discos off-roading. It's all going to still be the Discovery 1s and Discovery 2s, the Defenders, the classic Range Rovers. I think they're always going to be the off-road vehicle, and that's where I want to go and keep those going. Keep the Defenders going, refurb them, and
they've been around for so long. They aren't going to disappear that quickly.
They said that about the Range Rover when it first came out, didn't it? But as someone said earlier, that very very quickly they were being cut down, and it was a very prestigious vehicle. I remember sort of one of the Bond films where they had one, didn't they? We had the horse box on the back. It was the open back, and it was the vehicle of choice on shoots and things. Sort of the upper market ones. But I think it's easy to be I think I can safely say, in fact I know I can say that I'm probably certainly the oldest person in this room, and certainly drove Land Rovers longer ago than I think I drove my first Land Rover about 1959, and I've owned a Land Rover since the 1960s, in one guise or another. Neil learned to drive in a Land Rover, up and down the drive. Eventually took out the reverse, but that's another story. But it's very easy to be a sort of a Luddite and say, it's not the same. But the vehicles now, I don't know, the Defender's got that sort of rugged off-road sort of through the forest look about it, where the Range Rover Sport, which I now drive, is you don't want to scratch it. But it's not going to be long before that's up in the forest with me. My Land Rover, I turned it over the first day I had it when I bought a brand new Defender. But it's a working vehicle. But I think the Range, and I'll be up there eventually with the Range Rover, I suppose, when the novelty's worn off.
They are recreating the original series line at Solihull currently. I don't know if you're aware of that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they are. They've the original building. They're actually recreating as the original production line for series.
Oh wow, is that for a museum piece?
I think for when the Defender comes to a close.
Right.
I'm not sure of the detail, but that's being done as we speak.
That's
Not
fascinating.
today because it's Christmas Day.
Yeah, no, of course. Yeah.
I've got one on order actually. The last one's off.
Off the line, Solihull.
They're going to do it a bit of a bash, aren't they? On
Yeah. There'll be lots of exciting things which we'll sort of announce in the coming months of the end of life Defender. I mean, Stefan, you've been designing parts that, effectively to be better than Land Rover's parts for quite some time. What have you seen or what's your view on how long stuff's going to last? I mean, you look at Series 2 parts, for example, they're still around from a long time ago.
I think it's been touched on already. Defenders, Discovery 1s and 2s, classic Range Rovers, there they are, getting harder to find decent ones. They will stay as your stable kind of off-road type vehicles. I mean, this is where obviously Bearmac have cashed in wisely in developing the Wild Bear range. I think a high quality range of off-road products to suit those vehicles is very much what the industry needs at the moment. It's been a pleasure for me to be involved with that project and help develop the product range. I think those kind of products and quality brands such as Frontrunner are the things that people are going to look towards over the coming years to actually invest more into those older vehicles. We're not far away now from the end of life of Defender, certainly as we know it. Whatever the next version of Defender will be, it will be a lot more Bond-esque and electronic. It may retain some DNA that we can recognise as Defender, but it is ultimately going to change fundamentally in the way that Land Rover as a business has over the last 10 to 15 years. So people restoring and looking after and wanting to hold on to the Defenders, I think are going to start to be happier to spend more money on quality parts. And that's where obviously sourcing parts from Bearmac through the Wild Bear range, Bearmac's own replacement parts, etc. I think it's going to be an exciting, growing market.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, it's been really interesting. Back in probably episode 3 or 4, but we'll put a link on the screen. We went to Brightwell's auctions and had a good chat with the auctioneer guide there, who let us into some sort of industry insights on the second-hand value of Land Rover vehicles. And we've all seen particularly Series 1 and now Series 2 and Defenders being very strong in their second-hand prices. But at the moment, you can pick up a Discovery 1 for £500 with MOT and tax on it. Those vehicles which are being used for off-road, and they're in a phase when Land Rover probably didn't build the best quality vehicles about, can we really see the value coming back into those? Like, will any of those be collector's items or anything?
I'm not convinced that the Discovery 1 will. I think the vehicles that really will stand the test of time, one of them already has, that is the classic Range Rover. The values now of classic Range Rovers in good condition are soaring.
Absolutely.
Machines
Well,
are
you're
quite
going to go see
frightening
Chris
prices.
Bishop. I mean, his
Yeah.
Range Rovers are amazing.
It's amazing.
£92,000. Chap,
Oh, that one that went up.
I noticed one on eBay, a restored classic, and it was actually for £92,000. And I got in touch with the guy to check whether it was a misprint of 9,200 or 92, and it was actually £92,000, and I found it absolutely amazing.
Especially now, I mean, if you look to markets outside of Europe, to the States, where those sort of vehicles are an absolute premium. They're a luxury for your high-end users, chief executive officers of major multinational corporations. Defender, I think, is the one that's going to really hold the value. And I think in 5 or 6 years' time, you'll be astounded at what you'll be asked to pay for a decent quality Defender.
Yeah, well, exactly, and that was my very next question. That the rolling 25-year import ban on Defenders into America, with all the other restrictions that people seem to be able to circumnavigate, do we think there's going to be a very real problem that once the Defender becomes end of life over the next few years, as the 25 years hits the TDI 200 and then 300 line, that all of the good Defenders are going to be pushed straight out of the country.
We're very close to the 200 now, being at that mark. Bear in mind the first road legal Defenders at the 25-year mark were 1983 vehicles, so we're not very far away, just trying to do the maths, from 200 TDI. I think it's another 18 months or so. You're going to see vehicles like that going to the States, but some of the sharper businesses in the States have been buying the earlier vehicles, shipping in 200 and 300 TDI engines and retrofitting them in the States. There's no legal issue in the States to do that. You buy the vehicle as a genuine 1984, 2.5 nominally aspirated, and then you buy engines, gearboxes, bring those into the country, put it into the vehicle, retrofit it in the States. And there's no issue with that. The Americans will pick up a chunk of the vehicles, but Defender is so highly regarded and respected worldwide that I don't think you'll find that the majority of the great Defenders will suddenly get snatched up and disappear to America by any means.
So you're talking a very very small sector here. So your off-roading, your mud pluggers, your people that are buying in high-end $100,000 plus Defenders is very, very niche. It's very, very small side of the market. That middle market where I think the growth is going to be is within your the P30 should be wiped off the face of the earth, but sort of
Start real nerves.
your discovery. There's not enough hours of the days to fix them. That's the problem. Or electronics. You've those sort of the D3s as they stand now, becoming a highly sought after vehicle. The Freelander 2, fantastically capable little machine, lovely little drive. Hopefully the Evoque will disappear somewhere along the way. There are certain vehicles out there that are that middle stream. And let's multi-million pound companies don't become multi-million pound companies because they're servicing that 0.1% of the population that likes to go out the weekend and get stuck. I also think it's about the pathway of the DNA of the brand. So it's kind of from where we come from as a brand of frontrunner, and obviously where Sean's coming from is we're about adventure. Whatever that adventure may be, sometimes it's just Sainsbury's car park. But sometimes...
That's a different kind of adventure though, isn't it?
But driving up to the Arctic Circle to go and do a triathlon, whatever it is, those vehicles also provide a pathway to an aspiration of a different sort. So some people aspire to own a green oval because it's something, maybe back in the Range Rover Classic days, they saw it on a Bond film, they saw the Queen driving one, whatever it is, it becomes an aspirational purchase. There's those people who want to do an amazing adventure, and it becomes that vessel to achieving that adventure. And that's where our market is so much different because the car is the car. It's more than an A to B. It's about I'm going to live in it. It's going to help me achieve what I want to do. And that's where the models don't really matter so much to us. So we're seeing more and more LR3s, LR4s being kitted up for adventure. We've just developed a Range Rover, an L322 range, and a 405, and an Evoque range because we're getting more and more people want harder accessories. They want to mount multiple bicycles. They want to mount kayaks, surfboards, snowboards. So that's how we've had to change dramatically as a brand in the last 3 years, and especially with the emerging in our American market.
And throughout this year, I've experienced lots of things for the first time, and one of the things that I've never done before, but I've been enthused with Land Rovers for a long time, is getting to green laning. And I've been introduced to various different clubs. We've been out this year with the Staffs 4x4 Club, the West Midlands 4x4 Club, and Carpenters Tours, Birmingham Land Rover Group, all sorts of different ones. And that's been a really, brand new experience for me. It's sort of showing me what my vehicle can do. I've driven it around in fields and farms and stuff. Doesn't need anywhere near as much preparation as to do the sort of things that Sean does. But as I know from going laning with Sean, the green laning thing, although it's under a lot of pressure from external factors to shut it down, I mean, that's such a great experience for anybody in a Land Rover to have. I mean, is that Graham? Have you been on lanes at all?
Yes, I have. Yeah, it's great. Well, my brother-in-law went with him, and it was a really good day out. To be honest, we had another reason we needed some photographs for our catalogue, so we did that at the same time. But yeah, it was great. Really good fun.
The only problem I'm finding with green laning at the moment now, is there's a lot of people spoiling it. There's not enough people, there's too many people not sticking to the rules, so they'll go and they'll cut a fence down, and they'll cut a tree down, or they'll break a gate down. And I'm finding now a lot of landowners, where the green lanes go through their land, are actually starting to protest now, trying to stop it, trying to stop people using these green lanes. And it's a shame because it's down to a minority of people that don't respect it, and it's spoiling it for everyone else.
Yeah, environmentalists as well are jumping on as well, obviously because that's something that gives them a bit of leverage, they think.
They're very quick to criticise the green laners from certain sectors of the community. It was pointed out to me recently that when did you ever see ramblers out on a green lane, on a disused green lane, clearing it all back, cutting everything away, and taking away the wood, the branches, the brambles, etc. That doesn't happen.
No.
Within the green lane community, there are initiatives to actually clear the green lanes, which is a benefit to all users.
But that's the importance.
Things like this get forgotten, unfortunately, when the minority, as you were saying, spoil it with some of their less than intelligent antics.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
That's the importance, I think, of, you talk about club ownership. If you want to get into green laning, you need to be looking at tread lightly and glass. Because, one, they're going to lay out where you can go. They're great memberships to become, a member of. If you're looking for a lastminute.com Christmas present, I think you can do a membership online. And, they help protect the people that are out there doing the right thing to look after, the environment and treading lightly against the people that are just out there, that minutiae that just buy a truck, think it's all right to go and drive it around a green lane at 3 o'clock in the morning, shred it up. It's such a small percentage, and actually you have to start to whistle blow. Like if you do see stuff like that happening, or if somebody does kind of go rogue on a green laning trip, and I've certainly heard of stuff, you got to say it's wrong. It's like anything. Do you know what I mean? It's our environment, and
This is the problem, you say. It's just people just don't respect it. They'll go off the green land and green lane and go and spin round in one of the farmers' fields. I don't think it's a wrong thing, to be honest, finding out whose land it is and knocking on the door and speaking to the owner to say, look, do you mind us going through here? We're going to respect it and not do anything silly.
I'm glad you brought your Christmas spirit with you today, Neil.
And some people leave a pot, don't they, on the gate? A little money pot. There's people stealing the money pots when they go, so it's just wrecking it really.
Happy Christmas.
But if you want to check back, we'll put some links on the screen in episode 4 when we went out green laning, and we spoke to many members of Glass since, and that is really a great organisation to be involved with as well as Tread Lightly. So we'll put the links on the screen for those, because the real reality of the situation is we're losing lanes very quickly at the moment, and within 5 years or so it could be that we only have 1 lane left in Wales. So it's really down to us to, as Sally was saying, police ourselves and be responsible on green lanes.
Definitely.
And back in the spirit of as Christmas cheer, what things are you looking forward to next year then, Sean?
Oh, well, in February, that's my next sort of mid-range adventure. Nothing huge, but I'm completing the world's first ever length of Britain triathlon by re-attempting the run. So I'm the only person in history to have swum and cycled it. I attempted the run in August, but I was taking a selfie and tripped. Embarrassing.
You get a special award for that because you are the only person to injure yourself trying to achieve a record taking a selfie.
Taking a selfie, I know.
I'd like to see that selfie.
Well, it's on YouTube. But what's
If you haven't already seen that, then we'll put the link on the screen when we saw part 1 of our series with Sean Conway, where you can actually see the very clip where he did
mud and all.
fall over. And was that in your Bearmac Landy selfie competition, was it, Graham?
I don't believe it was, Matt,
Didn't have a
actually.
sticker
I'm
on
not
his
sure.
forehead.
And on the back of that, you've also got a book coming out in March time?
Yeah, exactly. So I've written the swim book now, Swimming Lands and Johnny Roads, and I've done it properly. I mean, I kind of thought I was going to get it out by last Christmas, but I thought, you know what, I'm going to spend 18 months writing this book properly, and it's out on the 5th of March, so really looking forward to that book launch, and that's sort of a week after I get back from the run, so it'd be kind of nice to talk about all 3 disciplines, swim, cycling and running, and the benefits and of each one, and then spread the word about the book.
Well, that's good. So what are you most excited about for next year then, Graham?
That's a tricky one, Matt. We've got so much happening at headquarters. We'd need a 2-hour programme to fill it. I think we just need to keep doing what we've been doing this year, but more of it, and it'll work very well.
Yeah. So obviously, on the back of your huge year at Black Country 4x4, there's so much to look forward to now for you guys. I mean, you've grown the size of your workshops. You're taking up 3-4 times the amount of space you used to. You've got some really interesting projects. I mean, you've only a couple of months ago you finished a bespoke project for Heritage Insurance, doing an Overland Defender for them. Have you got any other exciting projects coming up?
Hey, your dad's given you his Range Rover.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to rip his Range Rover to pieces.
He's got his eye on my old Defender because he knows I've got a new one coming.
Yeah,
I'm
having that.
Think coming on.
I'd love to be around your table on Christmas Day.
But no, I'm looking forward to the shows. We've not been at the shows. We're going to go to all the shows next year and have quite a nice setup there. And so that's an exciting thing to look forward to.
Yeah.
And we're going to obviously start doing a lot of refurbs, so getting a lot of old Defenders and springing new life into them and things. So yeah, so those two in particular, I'm really looking forward to.
Right, good stuff. And speaking of shows, we launched our Land Rovers live show this year at the Billing Land Rover show. And throughout the year, we took a TV studio to all the different shows around. We came out and met clubs, product manufacturers, and all sorts of interesting people along the way. But for next year, we're changing the way we do it. So we've got some really exciting announcements to come over the next few weeks. And throughout this show, we've been looking at adventure and various different things throughout the Land Rover scene. But of course, we're really led by you guys. So our next adventure, well, we're waiting for you to tell us that. So if you're doing something that you think we haven't covered, or you enjoy a certain section of Land Rover life that you've not seen on Land Rovers Live, do let us know. We'll put the links on the screen for that, and we really do like hearing from you. Without you guys, this show wouldn't be possible, so we'd like to take this opportunity to thank you all for watching. If you still like what we're doing, by all means share away and comment in the box below. And that's pretty well it for this show. We wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and we'll see you next time. Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas, everyone!
Oh, for Christmas will soon be